Alright Suraj, let's have a look at your submission of obstacle. It's near final stages. We just need to polish few things a bit. Let's share our comments and reviews. Chalo, let's play it first. Alright, fairly close, but needs some corrections. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Okay, stop. First of all, there seems to be some slowed effect at the beginning. It looks like that it's using its wings to slow out from the starting position. It should not be like that. In case of jump, we just squash, and then in the stretch we do the slowing out, whatever our body needs. When a man jumps, person jumps, or any animal jumps, this ball is behaving like a frog kind of thing when it takes its first jump, right? So at that time it slows out till the point it takes off in the air. Once it's in the air, it's a full spacing, because now it doesn't have any engine or wings to keep pushing it forward so that it can slow out. It cannot slow out. It has to be full speed, and it only slows in because of gravity, right? Now have a look. It looks like it's looking like it's taking a flight. Alright, so you just need to correct the spacing here. You can see the reason. Look at this spacing. Look at this spacing. It has suddenly made it less. The spacing is suddenly less. It's not a direct slow in where we have big spacing and then those spacings gradually decrease. It's not like that. You just track it by marking. You will come to know. Alright, here you have rotated the ball. One approach is that like a human jumps. So what it does, what a human would do is, it is going to, okay, let me draw something here. One thing is like the human, if it's jumping like this, the orientation is like this, right? And when it's on the top, orientation could be like this, and when it's shooting down, the orientation could be like this. So it could be something like this also, but you are making rotation. I would suggest let's keep it this way. It'll be easier for you. Alright, so let's play it. So one suggestion is when it's jumping, we don't rotate it. We let it behave here like a human, animal who wants to keep head up and feet below. Doesn't want to somersault. Alright, if you say that you have taken care of stretch and squash, there is no stretch and squash I can see here. Before jumping there should have been some squash, and while it's jumping there should have been some stretch. There is no stretch. The stretch should have been in this direction, something like that. And then when it's up, we should have slight squash, the way a person folds one's legs when the person is at the top. And then when the person is shooting down, again there is stretch, and when you are at the base position there should be the maximum stretch. So we need to have something like this in a straight way. I mean, we don't want it to rotate, so at the top the ball should be something like this, then coming down straight, right? Alright, just when it touches, we would like to have a stretched pose. Just after that we would like to have a squashed pose here. After that we would like to have a stretched shooting out something like this. But what we are having here is we are having a squashed shape even when it has taken off from the ground, which is not appropriate, right? It will become easier again for you if you don't rotate it. You just let it jump as if a person is jumping. So keeping the head up, feet below. At the top again we would like to have some squash. Here again we would like to have some stretch. Again I'm telling you one trick. When you hit the base, let's have a stretch, and after that let's have a squash. So just when it touches there should be stretch, then we should have a squash, then after that when it's taking off we can have another stretch position. May not be just exactly touching the ground, the third position, the third shape. It can be slightly up, then we have our full spacing. Alright, so because it is actually rotating, you are unable to handle this squash the way it should be. See, if you here you want, if at any position you want the ball to behave like ball, then it's not a good idea to squash it at the top. If it's rolling, let it roll. If it's rolling uniformly, you won't have that squash kind of thing. You'll have squash kind of thing when the ball is, it's not rotating, it's in a stabilized orientation, so it's squashing at some point. So look at this stretch. This stretch is directionless. The stretch should be in the direction of the motion. Here it is squashed, then there should have been some stretch. It's still squashed when it's in the air, and it's rotating. It doesn't look nice. Everywhere you just maybe avoid rotating randomly. You just try to handle it so that it stretches in the direction of the movement. I hope you are getting my idea. So here I would like to see when the speed is maximum, the stretch should be maximum, right? Again the same thing applies here. If it's squash here, after that I would like to see some stretch, then at the top some type of squash, then there should be some stretch. Okay, now what we find is that it is gaining speed here, but here it is becoming fairly slow. I don't enjoy it going through this tub. Suddenly it's applying brakes when it's entering the tub. Why to just slow it down? It doesn't look nice. Here I would like to see a good pace. See, it's slowing out. Let it slow out. Let's have a big spacing here, no? Somewhere here, for example here, and then somewhere here. Let's have a big spacing, and let us keep that spacing consistent. Your spacing is too small, and it's looking like that it's facing a lot of friction in the tub. Okay, once it shoots out, just a minute. Once it shoots out, one thing is that it's definitely very slow when it's traveling the tub, and when it's even moving out, it's fairly slow. The speed what we estimate or realize that it has gained before entering the tub. Compared to that, the speed in the tub is slow. Okay. Alright, after that, here I would like to see it getting stretched in the direction of the movement, then squash, fine, then when it's coming out I would like to see again stretched pose, then stretch in the direction of the path, and when it touches again a stretch, then a squash. And I find this speed slightly slow when it touches the upper plank and coming back. It's again looking slightly floaty. So maybe the spacing should be more when it's hitting the upper plank and coming back. This spacing looks quite slow. Again, when it's coming out, I would like to see a stretch here. If you want to show a squash here, it should be like when it is hitting there should be a stretch, after that there should be squash, then it becomes enjoyable, no? Stretching and squashing. Before hitting, if it's squashing, what does that mean? Before hitting, touching the ground, it cannot start squashing before that in anticipation कि टक्कर होने वाली है, पहले स्क्वॉश हो जाओ. तो टक्कर के कारण स्क्वॉश हो रहा है. दो तरह के स्क्वॉश हो सकते हैं ना. एक तो है कि वो ऊपर गया और हम दिखा रहे हैं कि ऊपर जाके वो जैसे इंसान अपने बॉडी को इकट्ठा करता है, जस्ट रोल्स वंस बॉडी, इट्स डूइंग लाइक दैट. और द अदर थिंग इज इट्स हिटिंग अ वॉल एंड टचिंग इट एंड देन स्क्वॉशिंग, है ना. इफ यू वांट to roll it, then forget stretch and squash, let it go and hit and come back. Here again I would like to see stretch, then squash, then a stretch while coming back. Rest of the things apply the same. ठीक है, तो थोड़ा हमें स्ट्रेच एंड स्क्वॉश को हैंडल करना सीखना है कि वो कब स्ट्रेच होता है, कब स्क्वॉश होता है. जब वो हिट कर रहा होता है तो स्ट्रेच होता है, उसके बाद इट स्क्वॉशेस, देन स्ट्रेचेस. देखो कैसा अजीबोगरीब सा स्ट्रेच एंड स्क्वॉश हो रहा है. ये नीचे जा रहा है, फिर ये स्ट्रेच हो रहा है. अगर स्क्वॉश हो रहा था तो ओरिएंटेशन के कारण यू आर फेसिंग प्रॉब्लम. When it's rolling now, you just forget stretch and squash. You do stretch and squash only when in this exercise. You do just when it's trying to keep its upper portion up, lower portion low. When it's rolling, it's very difficult to handle stretch and squash because it stretches and squashes in one direction only. So while rotating, you are unable to stretch and squash from any random direction, right? The rest of the things are fairly good. At the end, you can just put roll. Rather, just at this point, just forget stretch and squash and just let it roll the way it used to do in your earlier exercises, right? I hope this is going to help and we will be able to finish it off. Alright, take care.